Hello folks, and how are you all doing? So today we will see how we can work with instances and points in Blender using geometry nodes. So as you can see, I have a default new scene in Blender and we have a cube. So first things first, I will remove the cube. We'll click on Shift A and then add a cube. Now we'll go to our geometry nodes, and here we have three sections. On the top left we have a spreadsheet. On the top right we have our default viewport, and in the bottom section we have our geometry nodes. Like we will have, we still don't have. Now, we don't really use a spreadsheet that much, but I will briefly brief you about what this is. So we have a cube here, and the cube has 8 points. Now, we will have the position of those 8 points in the spreadsheet. So for example, let me select a face and let me do a GX. And as you can see, some data has changed. And it's not only about faces, we can also select an edge. Let me do a GX once again. As you can see, 2 points X value is changing. Y and Z will remain the same because we are not changing that. Now let me do one thing. Let me select this face once again and let me do an extrude. And now we have 12 points, so 4 more points have been added. We can select these two faces again and do an extrude once again. And we will have many more points. And all of this data will be stored here. And it's not only about points, we will have edges, faces, face corners, and many, many more things. So this is what the spreadsheet does in brief, but we don't use it that much. So I will just expand our viewport and we have a bigger viewport. Now we have a building like structure here. I will remove this one and I will add another cube. Now if I click on the new here, we will have our geometry nodes. And here what do we have? We have a group input geometry and a group output geometry. So the left side is the input, the right side is the output. Now what I can do here is something like this. I can add an icosphere, and if I let's say remove the group input, everything will go because we are using geonodes and we don't have an input. Now in place of the input, if I place the ecosphere, something strange will happen, and that is we will get an ecosphere in the name of a cube. Now this looks strange, but this is how geonodes work. And what this means is we will have a mesh and we can keep anything in place of a mesh. So what we can do is we can procedurally change the subdivisions, also the radius. And this is not something that we can do normally. For example, if I add an ecosphere here, let me do a GY. Now I can no longer change like how many points or whatever attributes we have. We can no longer change that. We can only change that when we are adding an ecosphere, let's say, and immediately we can increase the radius to 3, subdivisions to let's say 5. We have to do it immediately. But let's say this is at a while ago, and we will no longer get those options. Now we can get those options, but this is more complex, which is much more easier when we are using geometry nodes. Now I will set it back to default once again, radius of 1 and subdivision of 1 for simplicity. Now let's try to understand what are instances and points. Now points we already know. What are points? Points are like points. And one more thing is if I press tab here, we see something strange, and that is our ecosphere is inside a cube. And that is because this is the default geometry that was added. But yeah, it doesn't really matter that much. Why it doesn't matter? We will see that soon. We will do something called mesh to points. And if I place it here, you can see that these small points, this is actually making the shape of an ecosphere. It really doesn't make the shape of a cube. And so what this means is it really doesn't matter what the primitive shape looks like. Mesh to points means whenever we have a point in a mesh, like we have many points for our ecosphere, there we will have this small diamond shape. So these are like points. We can change the radius of the points. This is too much to represent like where our points are. It doesn't do anything more. Now, if we improve the subdivisions, we will have more points because yeah, subdivisions improve points, and that's all. Now we have a mesh to points, and then we have something called instance on points. So let me add instance on points. So instance on points, what this means. So first of all, we have mesh to points. We will have many points. Now the instance on points will have one input called points, and there is another input, and that is called instance. Now that instance can be anything. It can be any mesh. For example, let me add a cube, and if I just join the mesh with the instance, we see something strange. Not strange, something interesting. And to have a better look at it, what we will do is we will decrease the scale to, let's say, 0.2. And what do we see here? If I improve the subdivisions, let me make it 0.1. So what do we really see here is lots of cubes in the shape of an ecosphere. If I keep it like this, let's say. So we have lots of cubes in the shape of an ecosphere. And this is how we generally work with our instance on points. And now, one more thing is we may not use this mesh to points also. We can directly join the mesh with the points. Now, this will give the same result. So mesh to points is like showing us, like giving us the idea, like what is happening where. So we can improve subdivisions. It will add more points. More points means more cubes. Now, not only cubes, we can add anything in for that matter. So for example, let's say in our viewport, let me add a monkey, Suzanne, and size, let me keep as 0.2, some small monkey. And now what I will do is this. I will go to my cube once again, and I will drag Suzanne here. Let me remove the cube. And let me do something. Let me take the geometry and join it with our instance. And we see something, and very many small Suzannes everywhere we see, right? And to improve the size, let me keep the scale as 1 once again. And now we have an interesting look. Let me remove or hide the Suzanne at the center. And this is an interesting behavior that we can do. And now our Suzanne looks a little bit like the edges are very sharp. So we can simply do a set smooth, smooth, set shade smooth, and we will have a better looking Suzanne. Now that's not all. There are many more things we can do with GeoNodes. So let's try to make something interesting. So what we will do is this. Let me mm, let me open a new scene. That will be quicker, I believe. Let me expand this section. We have a cube at the center. Let's try to do something interesting. Let's add a cube here, and we will have the cube once again. And let me do something called extrude mesh. Now, what is this happening? So the cube has 6 faces, and it is extruding by 1 in all 6 directions. If I make it 2, it will become larger, but 1 is fine for now, I think. Now we have an extrude mesh, and then we will do something called instance on points. So it will take the points by default. And yeah, what are we doing? If we just do a mesh to points, we will see, not mesh to curve, mesh to points. Ah, not selecting the right one. Mesh to points, our second one here. So these are all the points we have. Now what I want to do is this instance on points. I will take this here and I will join this mesh with this instance. And we are getting something. Still not certain what this is. Let's scale it down to 2. And here, in place of 1, let me do it a 0.5. This will just like keep it smaller. That's all. Let's make it 2. It will be far away now. So what I will do is this. I have a cube here. Let me improve the number of vertices to 3. And as you can see, we have some interesting shapes forming. If I make it 1, everything will come close. Yes, so you see this, some shape is forming, right? Let's make it 2. 2 is fine, I think. What I will do is this. This is 0.2. Instead of 0.2, let me make it 0.4. Now this will be more close. Now we can do another extrude to mesh that will give us even more interesting results. So let me copy this one and let me keep it here. And as you can see, we have lots of interesting shapes forming. Now what will happen if I use an ecosphere instead of a cube? So let me remove the cube and let me take an ecosphere. Radius 1, subdivision 1. I think this is fine for now. I think radius we have to subtract. So yeah, I think radius we can do it at 0.2. So as you can see, we have some interesting shapes forming ecosphere-like shape, and yeah, and we can also do it with Suzanne. So we'll add a monkey. Let me keep the size as 0.2, and here in our cube, I will drag the monkey. Now, when we have a geometry, let me join it with the mesh and here instance. Now, some strange shapes are forming because Suzanne has a lot of points. But yeah, you get the idea that how with our points and with everything this is working. Now, if we do this, let's say we have the instance on points where we are adding the monkey. Let's say we are removing it, or let's say we are directly joining our mesh to points with this. So instead of that, we will have all of these are now points. This is no longer the monkeys. This will become monkeys when the instance of the points will be joined here. So this is a brief idea of how you can work with points and instances in Blender. Now, if you have learned something new in this video, make sure to like, share and subscribe the channel. Let's grow it fast. And I will make lots of interesting videos like this in the future. So that's it for this folks and see ya.